stream in late. That's what happens most weeks, so they can join in. So good afternoon. My name is Sarah Ripp. I'm the Outreach Coordinator and Undergrad Advisor for the Latin American, Caribbean, and Iberian Studies program. And as you noticed probably in the back, we have some snacks and hot water for tea and coffee, which you're welcome to enjoy. We also have a few handouts and a clipboard there if you are interested in being added to our listserv. We have lots of other programs and events that we're involved in that we share via newsletter every week, and we can add you if you'd like. Also this Friday, we are sponsoring, along with the Brazil Initiative on campus, a live performance by two Brazilian guitarists at Fairtrade Coffee House at 4:30 on State Street on Friday afternoon. So you can go have coffee and hear some Brazilian music. And there's a handout there. And also, Carolyn is going to tell you in more detail about all these various events, but there is a handout back there with lots of events happening all over Madison related to this, what you're going to see today. So thanks for coming, and I'll turn it over to Alberto to introduce our speaker.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sarah, and welcome everybody. I'm Alberto Vargas, the Associate Director of LASIS, and it's my great pleasure to introduce our friend and colleague, Caroline Kallenborn. Caroline got her Master's in Fine Arts here from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. She's an Associate Professor in the School of Human Ecology. She's a dynamo with so many projects that she starts, and we're doing collaboratively with her. And she's right now in sabbatical in Oaxaca, Mexico, that we wish we could be there too. So we welcome her, and so she's going to tell us about her new projects. Okay. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just back for a couple of weeks, partly to deal with Day of the Dead things here. I came back so that I could be here while we're sort of making things happen. And then in a few weeks, around the 30th, I'm going to go back, and I'm actually going to bring some students from Henry Drill's class to be joining us, and to actually go to Day of the Dead down in Oaxaca, and we'll go to actually some of the places that we'll see in the film today are places that we're going to be spending time with the students there, and I'm really excited about that. So anyway, but thank you very much to LASIS as well. They've been super supportive of so many things for so long. It's really been great being able to work with them, and really gives me a lot of encouragement to keep doing the things that I do, and they don't think I'm crazy when I say, oh, let's do this, and they go, yeah. So it's been really wonderful working. You guys have been really super supportive. So at first I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that we have happening here in Madison. So I'll talk later after the film I'll show about a project we did last year that happened at Edgewood College. We did altar boxes where we had 150 altar boxes come in. I don't even know how many participants, because many had many people that were part of the project. And and we had a big festival. LASIS was a big part of this. We had music and we had food and the film showing, and it was really very successful, and a lot of people were like, oh, I missed this last year. We're like, well, this was the first year we had it, and how do we do this again? And wanted to do it again next year. So we kind of all banded together. There's a group of us that are doing things related to Day of the Dead, and we're kind of hoping to cross publicize things. So you have one of the this is LASIS altar box. Yay!
So LASIS did one.
So this is one there. We had over 150 of these. This was a smaller one. There were also some larger ones. Individuals did them, groups did them, and it was put out as sort of a box of remembrance, or a place to remember either somebody or something. And they became, a lot of them were very, very personal. And some of them were also, some would take political bent, some were more about the celebration as a whole. So people sort of interpreted them in their own way. It was a really powerful experience. And that, they're doing it again this year. It will open this Friday. I almost feel like maybe I should show the video for that now since we're talking about it. So I'm going to pull that up real quick, and then we'll come back to this website here. So it's going to be opening tomorrow night at, what's today? Tuesday, Friday. And there are still some altars available, boxes available if somebody would like to make one. So let's see. Pull this off here. I'm going to pull this up. So this is just a quick little 5-minute video about the project that we did last year, and again, we're going to repeat it. It's already being repeated this year.
He was a drummer and a guitarist. He would literally sneak out of school and come up to our house and jam out on his drum kit in the garage like as loud as he could. So he passed away the day after her 5th birthday. That's the last picture that we have of him before he passed away. And my niece, who was 5, like, she really tries to keep his memory alive. She thinks about him a lot and journals about him a lot. And so I thought that it was a really nice way to let her be a part of the process and remember and grieve and process like losing her uncle. So she wrote a beautiful little poem that's on the drumhead. The whole outside and interior of the box is lined with guitar picks that I got from the Guitar Center in town here. And what was cool about this process was like going into that guitar store and asking for guitar picks, and then just kind of had this moment where I realized like this is where he would be if he were alive. He would probably know these people, they'd be his friends. I felt really connected to the person that he might be today, so that was really cool for me.
She taught me to knit a month before she passed away. She taught me to crochet when I was 5, but she said my hands were too small to knit. This is kind of a way to say goodbye to her, because I do 2 things every day that my grandmother has taught me. One is draw, and the other one is knit.
The process of creating the box was hard in the sense that it evoked a lot of memories. And how do you represent somebody that is gone? So we did it quickly, late one night. I think that was the best way to do it because it evoked a lot of powerful memories. Who are these people? These are really wonderful people that we love, and they're gone. But the box represents, we still remember about them. So it's a very interesting and wonderful process.
And hopefully this will bring it back here for a few days to be with us.
Enigmatic, charismatic, and well-known in their community. Different circumstances claimed them before their time, but they led eventful lives and created quite a following.
I think that's the beautiful thing about the Day of the Dead celebration is you don't have to think about the person in the past anymore. You can think about, well, what if they came to visit me today?
So a friend of mine in Mexico said to me one time, for some reason, the all-powerful one lets our dead loved ones come back and visit us one day a year. So we threw them a party. I thought that was a pretty great idea. So that's what we did.
Debajo de la cama, esto te lleva,
start with that a little bit. This is some of the things that are happening in Madison. This is one of many different events. The Altar Project will be beginning this, they're starting to set it up today. There'll be an opening on Friday, but there'll be people continually adding to that as the month goes along. And on October 24th, on Saturday, there'll be another big party kind of like that in this space. So these are things that are happening within Madison. Some of the things is we were, you know, I'm an artist, and I look at the world through the eyes of not, like, what's underneath things. Why does something feel the way it feels? Not necessarily what exactly how they do it, but what does it feel like? And I tried to use my experiences in Mexico, in Oaxaca, and Day of the Dead, and how we can interpret that into a similar thing that's meaningful for us here. And the Altar Project seemed to be a really good one that fit very well with our own community. We don't go to cemeteries. I've been to my grandmother's cemetery like the day they were buried, my grandparents, and I don't think I've been back. It's in another city. We can't go have a party in the cemetery. But there is something really powerful about remembering people that are gone and remembering who they were and celebrating them, not just the fact that they're gone, but who they were and that they were an important part of our lives. And remembering on a regular basis, once a year, setting aside a day, or actually they spend several days. Party planning is rather large in Oaxaca, especially. There's a lot that happens before and after and during. And but setting that time to really remember where we came from, that we are just one of many passing through, and at some point we're going to be on the other side and somebody else is going to be on this side, and remembering that within ourselves as well as honoring people that have passed. And so the Altar Project came out as a way to do that. We can do a box, we can take it with us, we can bring it around. And they're very, it's rather intense to make them. When you start to, the quote up here, it's hard and it takes a lot of time, but now that you know how you can do it. There was a man in the cemetery, in a candlelit cemetery like this, that said that to me one night as we were talking, and I was like, I was thinking, yeah, it's hard, it takes a lot, you gotta go get the flowers and all this, but that's not the hard he was talking about. The hard he's talking about is you start going through their stuff, you start picking out a picture of this thing and that thing, and why this object and why. It is very difficult. It was hard for me even after my grandparents have been gone. I made boxes for them last year and they've been gone 10 years, and it was still very difficult to do that because you really feel the person there. So anyway, that's one of the many things that are going on in Madison, and several different places are hosting altar projects. The Children's Museum is involved. Edgewood College, Marsden Gallery. There's going to be a Day of the Dead bicycle parade. And we're trying really hard with this group of events that we're pulling together to also keep the meaning behind this, that it's not just Halloween. It's actually quite different than Halloween, but it's a similar thing in the remembering death and remembering those that are gone. So there's a website here, and I want to give you all this information because sometimes people have to leave a little bit early, and I wanted to make sure you got the, what's going on in Madison. And there's a whole list of events that are going on. There's a Community Altar Project at different places. There's workshops, maps making altar boxes, bike decorating through the Children's Museum. There's a whole bunch of lectures. There's a Day of the Dead bike procession, a whole bunch of discussions on lectures. A lot of people working with hospice were very interested in that, and they're just changing our conversations about death, being a little bit more having the conversation versus just ignoring it. So there's all kinds of things going on, and we encourage you to go by and take a look. This is some of the things that are on that handout that's there, and I put the website up on the wall so that you can be sure and check that out. I'll be showing the full version of the screen, the film. I think once more time in Madison, and then once in Stevens Point as well. And there's exhibitions that go along with it. So check out the website and see what you can do. So, and the main thing I wanted to do today is, I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi so I don't get little notifications in the middle of the film. So I wanted to show, I have a shortened version of the film that's a 50-minute long film. I have a shortened version that works for lectures like this, so we can have a little bit of time before and after to discuss things. And so this is for me where the inspiration, how, kind of what hit me in how different this is and how we deal with death, and how much more, it seems to me, a much more psychologically really healthy way to deal with death rather than kind of ignoring it, which I think we tend to do in the States. And so I wanted to show, I wanted to try to bring back what does it feel like to be there in the celebration. So this isn't an intellectual discussion. There's not a lot of facts. They're hopefully enough to get you hooked into there, like to understand what it is you're seeing. But for me, the most powerful thing about being there were those times where, and when you're filming, you wait a lot. You sit and you wait. So going to the cemetery and sitting there waiting for the band to start, which always going to start any minute now, and it's like 2 hours later. You sit there and you watch. You just see things around you, and you look at the things, and you see the candles, and you notice the details about what's happening. It's a slow down from what we typically do, which is sort of like jam-pack everything into as little space as possible, and do it very quick and fast and get everything you need really quickly. This is like the polar opposite. You sit, you listen, you watch, you look at the details, and you feel it more than you think it. And so because of that, I made this a silent film. It's a silent film, and there's no narration, there's no talking, but there's a lot of music, so the music kind of pulls you through. And so I sort of invite you to just sit back and feel it, and like kind of let your intellectual mind go have coffee in the other room for a little bit, and but for the moment, just sit back and listen and feel what it feels like to be there, and notice and look at details, and let the music and the visuals sort of pull you into the experience of what it's about. So trying to think if there's anything else I should set up quickly about this, other than there'll be like 4 sections on that, and this is again a slightly edited version for lectures. So, and if anyone get the lights there.
cantos de 7 jilgueros que vuelen los maromeros, nube blanca y bendita, le pregunta la tristeza, le pregunto el año nuevo, donde aprendiste cantadas, libre donde está el trapecio. Yo no soy carero, soy un sensonte, yo soy maromero. Yo no soy carero, soy un sensonte, yo soy maromero. Vengan en el trapecio, cantores, funambulistas, bajistas y violinistas, ánimas en firmamento, pasen señores del tiempo, flores, compañía, aguardientes, que juegue la vida y la muerte, que diga